Alex Belfield.
It's the magic of the musicals, and we're here at Les Mis at the Queen's Theatre here in the West End, and I'm joined by a remarkable performer, Sean Kingsley. Thank you so much for talking to me.
You're very welcome. Welcome to my grand dressing room.
Yes, it's grand. Grand, I suppose, is a word for it.
It's the drapes that give it away.
I think so, yeah. It's not very showbiz, is it, really?
It's not, mate. I'm afraid when we moved in here, we kind of downsized from the Palace Theatre. And the Queen's Theatre, as you can see, is a tiny theatre, and we've kind of been shoehorned into it, and there's no available space left anywhere in the building. And I think that the most decoration they did was they put a new mirror up for me right there.
Listen, it's a pleasure to talk to you. We just played Master of the House there, which is the big raucous song. It's really the only big, huge comedy song in the whole show. It's quite a serious show, but there is nothing like it anywhere in the world. This, every single time, can make you cry. A grown man. I mean, it's stupid. You know, I mean, I can't explain what this show does, and to be doing it every night, I don't know how you sing the songs.
Neither do I. I wish you could tell me. I think the trick is not to think about it too much. But I mean, you hit on a point there. The story is I call it important. The story is an important story that everyone should know. You know, it's that age-old struggle of good and evil, and it's just a pleasure to sing, you know, on a nightly basis. I don't find it a chore in that sense, you know, because you know yourself when you came and saw it, the reaction from the crowd still 19 years later is, you know. What
is also staggering about this show is A, the theatre was full, and not many theatres in the West End or even Broadway are full these days, and it still had the energy that when I first saw it 10 years ago, and it's been going now for nearly 20 years. It's an incredible show, but what I can't understand is how you keep that energy every night, particularly on those two show days.
They pay me well.
Yeah.
That's you want to know why it looks fresh every night? Because they pay us.
So it's not osmosis or anything. It's not God sending it down. It's just the fact that you can pay your mortgage at the end of the week.
No, I wish I could give you some kind of romantic, glamorous explanation, but the fact is we do a job like anyone else does, and you know, I'm sure there are days when you're sat in the studio and you know, you really can't be bothered. But I can see, you know, as soon as you started this interview, your face lit up, and you know what it's like on radio. You can hear when someone's not smiling. So you need to open that mouth and you need to smile, and that's your job, and you get paid to do it even when you don't want to, you know. And the fact is that performers are the same. We have problems at home, you know. There are days when we don't want to come in, but come in we do, and we do the job.
Let's talk a bit about the story, then we'll play another song and we'll find out all about your career. Give us the story first of all, because it's quite complicated, and Michael Ball told us last year that it nearly was a huge flop because it was so complicated and such a odd story for a musical.
Yeah, well, they panned it originally, the critics, and it was, I think, over 3 hours long at the time. I don't remember, obviously. It was that was back in 1985, and I was far too young. I think I was training as a student then, but it was over 3 hours long, and it has been cut quite drastically since then to get it down to I think it's just about 2.5 hours, which is a standard length. And it kind of ties in with what you were saying before. It is extraordinary that people still love it because the story has been cut so much, and yet people are willing to forgive that because the music and the message is clear enough. You know, you don't need anything else apart from that heartwarming message. The story is quite complicated, but I mean, if I was going to break it down, it's the struggle of a man who was wronged in his youth. Given 19 years hard labour for stealing a loaf of bread, released on parole with his yellow ticket of leave, only to find that he's treated like an animal wherever he goes. So he tears up that ticket of leave and he changes his name, and he starts a new life and becomes the mayor of the town. Everybody loves him.
Do you think Phantom and Les Mis will be around in 10 years, or do you think they will be pushed aside? Because I walked past Mamma Mia today. I'm going to see it tomorrow night. I went to collect my tickets. A guy came in. He said, "Can I have a ticket for tonight?" No. There's a ticket available next Wednesday. Now, seriously, I mean, there are no tickets available for these shows. It's presumably business that is running the theatre now. It's not anything to do with who's the best singer or which is the best show.
Well, exactly, even. And I mean, on that note, the answer to your question is I personally wouldn't like to see these shows running in 10 years' time. I think there's a time and a place for everything, and just to churn it out as a business venture because it happens to be making money is not what theatre is about, as far as I'm concerned, and I'd like to see fresh stuff coming in. There's nothing wrong with creating those kind of shows for a certain target audience. I just personally, my preference is that there should be a strong story there first and the music written around that story. People will not produce new musicals by young up and coming, right? They won't take that chance anymore because it's too expensive. They just can't do it anymore. They used to be able to do it when Cats and Les Mis first started. But these days it's just too expensive. I don't think even Cameron is too happy about putting new musicals on at the moment. You're more likely to lose your money than get it back. Something like Les Mis is a rare thing. Mamma Mia, they're rare things. But having said that, if you do put your money in the first place, the return you get is huge. I mean, I know some original investors from Cats, who put I think a share was something like £300 at the time, or £1,000, which was a lot of money back then, back in 1980. But they've had something ridiculous like a 7,000% return on it.
I'm going to play a song now, which is without question my favourite song from Les Mis, Bring Him Home. It is so gentle and so soft. How do you remember when to go loud and when to go soft every single night?
Well, to quote our musical supervisor, who's a lovely guy called Dan Bowling from Canada, he says, "Sean, I urge you, practice. I urge you." But and people don't expect it to come out of me either, because they hear me wailing like a rock singer all the big numbers. They don't. I think they find it quite strange that I can actually be quite sweet and quiet when I need to be. But it's a prayer, and it's supposed to be whispered. It's it has its peaks, and it's a roller coaster ride. It has its peaks and its dips.
It's beautiful. It's called Bring Him Home. We're here today at Les Miserables, which is on at the Queen's Theatre in the West End. We're here with Sean Kingsley, who plays Jean Valjean, the star of the show. We're here in Star Dressing Room number 1. You wouldn't think it, looking at what we're looking at, would you?
Oh, no, mate, you wouldn't.
I think we need to have a word with somebody round
I'll clean it out next time you come.
The Alex Belfield In Conversation podcast with daisymedia.co.uk.
Alex Belfield.